Right, let's put this. Hi everyone. Right, my live tonight, I'm hoping it goes well because I tried to do like a video movie so I could do it that way instead of having to show like loads of numbers to share with you all. But yeah, I'm going to start sharing straight away and get straight into my story for this evening. Researching my story, I've made it into like 3 stories into one about 3 women who have been kidnapped. 2 were returned home, but 1 is still missing to this day. But yeah, I'll get into my story. Let me share screen. Sorry, nearly there. Right. I'm going to put it on actually as I talk. This lady here, her name is Sherry Papini, and she was born on the 11th of the 6th, 1982, and she is married to Keith Papini. They both have 2 beautiful children together. Yeah, together, a boy named Tyler and a girl named Violet. And that's them there. But Sherry, she was 34 years old on the day of her disappearance. And on November the 2nd in 2016, Sherry sent a text to her husband around about 10:47 in the morning, asking him if he was coming home for lunch, but he couldn't. He said he was busy all day that day. So when Keith arrived back home, he noticed that Sherry's car was still parked on the drive, but she wasn't home with the kids. And this was like really unlike Sherry. She was normally there when he got home. He kept ringing Sherry's iPhone, but kept getting no answer. He rang the children's school, and they said that the kids hadn't have been picked up yet. And Sherry hadn't arrived to pick them up as yet. Hi, Rachel. Hello, beautiful. Yeah, so Keith arranged for his parents to pick the kids up and went into his phone, his iPhone, and went on the app to find my iPhone. So he sort of like, he was, hi DJ Heaven, hi Jake Away. Yeah, so he went onto his iPhone and find my iPhone app, and I'm just going to show you another picture. So he went onto his iPhone, and it was basically saying that Sherry's phone was about a mile up the road. So where they lived, they had this like big massive driveway, and the bottom of their road would be like a mile long, but it would lead like Keith to a place called the Oregon Trail. Now this is where the 3 women that I talk about this evening, the second lady that I talk about, Tara, this actually comes into this with Sherry's disappearance as well. But I'm going to stop sharing this missing poster, and I'm going to let you hear the 911 call that Keith makes to in Sherry's disappearance, because when he gets to Sherry's iPhone, he finds it on the floor, and what he finds is like a clump of Sherry's hair, wrapped around the iPhone, around the headphones. So he just knows that something is not right, and he needs to get like help straight away. Yeah, so I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to have to stop this one, which brings me back, and then I'm going to share again with you all the 911 call.
What is your emergency? CHP transfer. Keith is on the line. Hello, can I help you?
Yeah,
So I
just got home from work, and my wife wasn't there, which is unusual, and my kids should have been there by now for like daycare. So I was like, oh, maybe she went on a walk. I couldn't find her, so I called the daycare to see what time she picked up the kids. The kids were never picked up, so I got freaked out. So I hit like the Find My iPhone app thing, and it said that it showed her phone like at our end of our driveway. We don't have really good service.
Okay.
Not the end of our driveway, but the end of our street. But I just drove down there, and I saw her phone with her headphones because she started running again. And I found her phone, and it's got like hair ripped out of it, like in the headphones. So I'm like totally freaking out, thinking like somebody like grabbed her.
Okay, what's your address?
Ready.
Okay, what's your last name?
Yes. Papini, Papini.
And your first name?
Keith.
Keith?
Yes.
Yes. Did you go pick up your children?
No, I'm gonna call my mom.
Okay. What's your wife's name?
I'm gonna like knock on every door. Sherry. SHERRI.
And same last name?
Yes.
She white female?
Yeah.
What's her date of birth?
It is June 11th, 1982.
Is her vehicle there? Does she not have a vehicle?
She has a vehicle at the house.
Okay, the vehicle is at the house.
She's running.
Okay.
Yes, I'm in it right now driving, and I took a picture of her phone on the ground before I picked it up.
Okay, how tall is she?
5'3", 5'4".
How much does she weigh?
100 pounds.
Eye color?
Like a bluish.
Okay, hair color?
Blonde.
Do you know what she was wearing? Is there something she always wears?
I'm assuming she went running.
Okay, there's not an outfit she always wears or anything like that. Does she run with a dog or by herself?
By herself.
Okay. What time were the
We
kids?
just started running again. We live in a.
When's the last time you heard from her?
She sent me a text asking me if I was coming home for lunch.
What time was that?
Give me one second.
Right, I'm going to pause it there and go back to my story, because I just got the gist a bit of the 911 call. Yeah, so that's Sherry's husband, Keith, explaining about what had happened. She just started jogging again, and a bit later on with the second girl that got kidnapped, it is just so similar. It's unreal. So I'm going to share again my photos. I'm going to try and stop doing it like this. Yeah, I'm sorry it's so small. I came out of the live again, and I've actually put it that side. Let's start again. Right. Right, let's get it right. Okay, so yeah, so Sherry was missing, and the police got involved. there was a big search in the area, and it caught the media's attention massively. Missing posters went up, and her husband opened a GoFundMe page for reward money, to be rewarded for any information, and for anyone to come forward if they knew anything. Yeah, let's do another photo. Yeah, so there was like a big massive search, and they were questioning Sherry's husband, like trying to find out previously if they'd had any like marriage problems or financial problems, usual routine sort of thing. But yeah, it actually sort of came out in Sherry's disappearance that she was actually communicating with another guy days before her disappearance, but he actually visited the area days before as well. But when they brought him in for questioning, they actually ruled him out because he wasn't in the area on the actual day of Sherry's disappearance. Yeah, so about 3 weeks went by, and there was like a lot of speculations. Some people were saying it's a hoax. They're doing it for the money, i.e. GoFundMe page. She's planned it. A lot of people were stepping forward and saying that Sherry has done this before, which was not true, but a lot of things were coming out about Sherry, which was making the media and other people assume it was a hoax. Let's just go to another photo. Yep, there's another photo of when Sherry was missing and they were searching for her. But what actually happened 3 weeks later, in the early hours of the morning, so we're talking 150 miles away, there was a woman named Anna who was on a freeway, and it was actually Thanksgiving, so like they say 1 million people actually drive through this freeway. Let's put me on. Yeah, so they actually say like there's like a million people that drive along this certain freeway on Thanksgiving every time of this year. And there was this lady called Anna. She was driving, I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning. She was driving along the freeway, and all of a sudden this person, she didn't realize it was a woman at the time, but this person ran out trying to sort of wave her down. She just knew something wasn't right, and she felt she had to stop because she nearly hit her. She ran out so like frantically. She just knew that, you know, this person needed help, and she pulled off and she called 911. And this is where they then realized it was Sherry Papini. Let me just share another photo. This is actual CCTV footage that was of Sherry, where she'd actually been running across frantically trying to get to the freeway. She was then rushed to hospital, and her husband Keith like drove the 150 miles to get to her, and she was actually dressed in like a white like dressing gown, like a white nightie, like finished what nightie that actually had a chain wrapped around her tummy, and her arms were chained to the chain that was wrapped around her tummy. When her husband got to the hospital where they took Sherry, he was devastated. He was happy that she'd been found, but he was so devastated when he saw her. Her face was so severely swollen. She had a broken nose. She had long blonde hair before she was kidnapped, and they'd actually hacked her hair, and they said that she had a symbol, like put like, oh, what's the word? See, I'm forgetting. Engraved, like she had a symbol engraved into her right shoulder. Yeah, so this is like a really sort of hard one for me because I can relate to Sherry a little bit, where, you know, she's been through it, you know, sort of thing. She lost her majority of her body weight. So yeah, he was just, you know, upsetting to see his beautiful wife, you know, laying on the hospital bed, like the way that what they'd done to her. It was horrific. But he was grateful she was alive and she was found. The police, the police took, like spoke to Sherry, obviously when she felt up to being spoken to, and she actually said it was, what had happened was she'd started jogging again. She was out on her jog. Two women, she said it was two women that had held her captive. This is one description of one woman that she done, and this is a description of the other woman. But yeah, she done the two sketches, and she said that they basically they basically starved her. They hit her, they engraved her. But yeah, it was still in the media that why do you two always play up when I'm on here? Yeah, it was still in the media that it was still a hoax. Some people just wasn't believing her, but you know, I believe her, really. Why would you have your nose broken and have a symbol engraved in your arm, you know, for $50 of a GoFundMe page reward? It just doesn't make sense, you know. But then this brings me to another lady, which sort of relates to Sherry's disappearance as well. Her name was Tara Smith. I don't know if you're aware of Tara Smith, but she was born on January the 6th, 1982. Let me just show you a picture of... No, let's get it right. This is Tara. Sorry, I'm getting a bit muddled up now. Yeah, Tara was born on January the 6th, 1982. She was 16 on her disappearance while she was out jogging. But Tara and Sherry actually went to school together. They went to the same school. They were in the same class, the same year, everything, you know, and she was actually out jogging as well when she disappeared. But unlike Sherry, Tara's never been found to this day. And but in August the 22nd, 1998, Tara was out jogging and she never returned back to her family home. Tara was a beautiful homecoming princess. She loved sports and was good at martial arts. And since her disappearance, her mum and dad searched her room. And what they came across was Tara's diary. And it explained that Tara and her martial arts instructor were in a relationship, and it'd been going on for months. His name was Troy Zink, and he was 29 years old. He was married and a father to one son. But from the letters that he wrote to Tara, her family knew that there was a romantic relationship there. So reading on a bit, building up to the last 2 weeks of like Tara's disappearance, they saw that Tara was wanting to end things with Troy Zink and planned meeting him on one of her evening jogs. So after her parents informing the police, they brought Troy in for questioning. He denied any involvement in her disappearance and said there was never any relationship between them. It was only a martial arts instructor relationship. But he did admit that Tara rang his phone when he was at work and asked him for $2,000. But she didn't say to him what the money was for. She also asked him to drop her at an section nowhere near her home, and he agreed in doing this. And according to him, you know, Tara just walked off, but the place where he dropped her off was the old Origin Trail, where Sherry went missing at the very beginning. So, you know, the police charged Troy after searching his home and after Tara's disappearance, but he was charged with weapon charges and received 4 years for that. He also pleaded guilty to a rape charge in 1993 and spent 1 year in prison for the underage sex with Tara. And to this day, no arrests have been made with Tara's disappearance, and her case still remains unsolved. So, you know, to me, that just speaks like volumes with him denying it at the beginning. His story just does not make sense from the minute they pulled him in, you know. But to my third woman, this poor lady, I'm going to show you a picture. I'm nearly finished. This poor lady. Let's just show you. There's Sherry and Tara there as well. They're very similar hair color. They actually went to school with one another. So okay, so this is my last lady this evening. In March the 23rd, 2015, a woman named Denise Huskins and her boyfriend then, but now husband, and they also have a lovely baby together as well. They were both woken up by a masked intruder. They were both drugged, and he abducted Denise and left instructions behind for her boyfriend. Then he was told to stay behind a red marker and not move and do not contact the police. And he was going to give him clear instructions by his mobile phone. And if he did contact the police or move, Denise would have been killed. So her boyfriend, Aaron, made the decision to move a bit after and call the police. They took Aaron in for questioning, and they basically didn't believe his story. So these police just looked at him and just thought, you know, this man's story is just unbelievable. It's just doesn't, it's not true. Basically, that's what they were thinking. And yeah, so he was saying to them, you know, he's going to ring my phone. But what the police actually done, they put his phone on air mode. So within the 8 hours of him being questioned by the police and his girlfriend Denise being held captive, this intruder was trying to ring him to get the ransom money that he was asking for, to be able to sort of let Denise go. But he was saying to the police, Aaron was saying, he's threatened to kill her. If I do not answer the phone, he is going to kill her. This is what he said. But they just didn't believe him. They just didn't believe his story. So yeah, and then after 48 hours of Denise being held captive, she was released 48 hours, and she was dropped at a family's home by she's that she to. Am I back? Sorry, I disappeared then. I'm nearly done. Yeah, she was chained to like a radiator sort of item in a like in a backed out shed, and she was raped twice by this intruder. And the police just basically said that Denise and Aaron have just sent them on a wild goose chase. The kidnapping sounded like an orchestrated event. They just didn't believe them. It was so like horrible for them, you know. The couple went through a real bad, dreadful time for months after not being believed. You know, people where they were living were like, you know, looking at them differently. A lot of people were, and it wasn't nice for him, you know, at all. What she went through, that ordeal, you know, that is just horrific in itself, you know. But then on June the 5th, 2015, 3 months later, in a place called Dublin, another home invasion took place, but the couple fought him off and he fled. But whilst he was fleeing, he left his phone behind. And when the police took the phone, it actually linked it to a man named Muller, who was a former Marine and also attorney. I'm going to show you the picture of him. Sorry. There he is there. Yeah, so So basically, with the police having his mobile phone, it linked the number to Aaron's phone, and the place where they arrested Muller, they also found evidence of Denise being in that home as well. And yeah, so she went through hell, you know, and as a couple, they went through hell. And this man, you know, they were thought of like it was a hoax. And, you know, thankfully, the other couple, nothing happened to them. But, you know, thankfully, he left his phone so it could show that it was him, with the evidence what he'd done to Aaron and Denise. But yeah, in 2016, he pleaded guilty to the crime and he was sentenced to 40 years. Denise and Aaron were also awarded $2.5 million for the authorities' mishandling of the case, as they could have actually have found her where she was being held captive in the first sort of place, really, because she wasn't believed, you know. I'm going to come back on. Because she wasn't believed and they thought it was a hoax, you know, they could have like saved her, really, even though she was released. You know, they could have got to her way before 48 hours. And it could have also lost her life, because he said he was going to kill her if he would have gone to the police. And, you know, he took that chance and they didn't believe him. And so that goes back to Sherry, my first woman. I really hope that they find the people that kidnapped her, because I genuinely believe it's not a hoax. And yeah, it's really sad, but just, you know, be safe. And yeah, and what's your thoughts of it? You know, if you have any like thoughts, you know, please leave your or questions, please leave them down below. I'd like to hear them. And thank you for watching. Big love and peace out to you all.